People make it seem that creativity is something you just search for consistently and it's only existent within the outside world. But creativity is something that's naturally within all of us. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing my 5 mindfulness hacks where it can help you realize your inner creativity is within you all along. All you have to do is be aware of your thoughts when they come in. Be distracted. Allow yourself to go mindless when doing mundane tasks such as taking a shower, preparing a meal, sitting in traffic, or going on walks, or even during your gym classes. The most interesting ideas appear randomly as you are in your flow state and as you are allowing yourself to be part of a creative collective consciousness. Whenever you are in this state, your mind is flowing to its most natural self. And when you allow yourself to flow with the universe naturally and having fun at it, that is when the most interesting ideas come into play. This is in contradiction to what is being told about being distracted. Generally, it's seen in a more negative light. But for creatives, and for anyone who's trying to do something that involves problem solving, or to think of a new creative solution, when you're distracted, you're taking in all information, and all of the information that you're receiving can be relevant or irrelevant to what you're trying to come up with in your idea. Whenever you're engaging with being distracted, you're coming up with innovative ideas and to solve complex solutions that if you focus too much on it, you'll be hitting a wall. Whenever you're taking in a wide variety of sources of information that come from your surroundings, you are tapping into your subconsciousness that will help identify a creative solution for your idea. Be visceral and be connected with your 5 senses like touch, taste, hear, smell, sight. You make out of the most of your 5 senses. That allows you to tap into your greater collective consciousness. This is so important. I'll give you an example, such as writing a novel. Let's say you're writing this novel and you're trying to come up with a character's dialogue and you hit a wall with trying to figure out what a character might be saying. Whenever you're listening to all the conversations going on in the background, that is whenever you can get ideas or inspiration for how your next character would like to sound. Let's give another example. Let's say you're trying to figure out what you want your next brand colors to be. You're going through a walk in the park, for example, and let's say it's a hike that you do every single day. You notice a new plant bloom, and it's a very unique shade of magenta, or it's a unique shade of yellow, and you've never quite seen those colors before with the way the light is reflecting on that plant. And let's say you get excited and you know that those 2 colors are things that are going to perfectly match the product for the brand concept that you're creating, or for a product concept or marketing campaign that you're trying to advocate for. I would say to be visceral is to be in awe and to take things from anew and to use your 5 senses to still keep the awe in your mindset going. Because in creativity, if you can consistently see things anew from new, fresh eyes and from a beginner's mindset and from a standpoint of awe, that is tapping into the deeper sense of your childlike senses, which is in relationship to creativity. And to think with a childlike mind is what propels you to keep on looking forward and to continue finding inspiration in your daily life. Because as children, we naturally use our instincts to come up with forming ideas about the world around us through the sight of play and through using the 5 senses without making too many intellectual understandings. And that's how you best achieve that mindset and creativity, when you're using your 5 senses to come with the world of awe with fresh eyes to come up with your next profound idea. Make note of what is obvious to you. This is something that was a hard pill for me to swallow because I didn't think of my day-to-day life as being quite interesting because everything just sounded so obvious to me in the way that I thought. But isn't it funny that we naturally second guess our thoughts and opinions, our habits and our patterns and experiences, and any other matter that comes naturally to us in the way that we operate. This is so important for you to realize that what may seem to be part of our everyday reality and existence, and what we might think is something obvious and mundane to us and what our interests are, might be genius to someone else because another person with a completely different life experience could have not seen life that way. To someone else, our daily habits, thoughts, and ideas and observations might seem like complete genius to somebody else. That is such an interesting light switch to make into your daily life, because once you start seeing the value that you have and the unique value that you know you can add into someone else's life by your creative mindset, that will inspire you, motivate you to be much more self-aware, to take a note, and to actively share your mindset with others and to share your ideas with others, because it'll give you that confidence to share with others, because you will switch your mindset from what is obvious to seeing yourself as an expert in a particular way of thinking and being. When you make that switch, you will then see yourself growing into seeing yourself as an expert and seeing yourself as a unique perspective in the tale that you are trying to tell the world, regardless of the medium that you decide to make it be, and regardless of the product that you're trying to innovate, or regardless of the kind of message you're trying to tell, because it sounded so obvious to you based on what you surround yourself with your day-to-day life, based on what you read, what your interests are, what news articles you're reading, what activities interest you, your friendship circles, your life experience as a whole. This can give you your unique edge into what makes you different to stand out in a competitive market. Breathe into life. Allow yourself to breathe, as breathing comes as a way for you to communicate with the divine. This point is taken from the book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Whenever you're breathing, you're removing yourself from distraction and focusing on your breath. And your breath is a way for you to communicate with sources from the divine. When you're moving yourself from distraction, from the outer world, that's what I mean by distraction, by the outer world, you are focusing on your inner world, and you're focusing on your mindset, and you're gaining inspiration from within. And within us, we all have a world that is just as strong and paralleled as our outside world, as our inside world does inform and communicate our external worlds. And when balancing the external and the internal, they both can create a reality that is succinct and powerful for what we need in our life. From the life we have, also the life that we want to create, and the things that we want to create in this life. To communicate with the divine means to be closer to our mindset and to be closer with the sources that are truest to our hearts, souls, and minds. And that's what helps us create those innovative solutions and innovative questions to arrive to, for us to solve, to create something new for this world. If you see yourself as an artist, I believe that artistry can be communicated through a number of fields, not just stereotypes of the fine arts. If you see yourself as an artist sees the world through questions and by asking questions. And if you ask the right questions, you can create the innovation to enhance and to innovate a number of ways in which the world operates. That is why it's so important to slow down, to take a deep breath, and to pay attention to every breath that we make. Breathing is one of the easiest mindset hacks and mindfulness hacks that you can do and incorporate in your daily life if the other points are more challenging for you to arrive at this time. Discipline. This is very interesting to think about because people think of discipline as a construct for your creativity. I don't think this is true. I believe that creativity and discipline go hand in hand as partners. Whenever you set a time frame on your schedule for creativity, you are making a commitment for what you want to create in this life. That gives you the time span for a limited part of your time as a time block in your schedule. And when you allow yourself a limited period of time with a timer, for example, you go all in. Your childhood spirits are in awe for this limited period of time. And if you get really into it, you might catch yourself going over your timer or time frame of what you initially intended to think about. I think that if you do not have a disciplined schedule, you can find yourself drifting or finding yourself going into a period or a state of laziness because you think you have all day to complete that task or planning, whatever it is you plan for your side project, for your creative practice, or something to allow you to problem solve for your entrepreneurial project. But with a limited period of time, you're giving yourself this window, and the window of time may or may not expand depending on your feelings and moods for the day or how much of an expert you are in the thing that you're trying to accomplish. But you never just know when it's going to expand. And it's interesting because if you consistently find yourself expanding, then you can give yourself permission to expand that period of time, especially as you continue this habit over and over and over again. Then you can expand your time frame, accordingly fit your schedule of what you want to achieve by a timeline you want to achieve. And whenever you give yourself structure, you're able to reach those deadlines to solve the problems that you're trying to solve and reach the potential for what you're trying to create. That is what's so magnetic about discipline, is that being disciplined is what gives you an internalized commitment to complete a project that you started and to experiment and to give yourself that dedicated time in the day without making it too harsh. If you're giving yourself an hour a day to do your project or only 2 or 3 hours a week to do a project, then you'll efficiently get it done because you only give yourself a limited period of time. And that is why discipline is so important in relationship to creativity and time. You give yourself that time frame of how much work and the quantity you can get it done, and you can increase the quality over time because of the amount of consistently how much you completed a project and the amount of experimentation that you've put in. If mindset and using your senses is something that interests you, be sure to check out my next video, How to Develop an Eye, where I go into a little bit of detail on how developing an eye is something that you can train your eye to do to become better at visually understanding the world around you and to develop your sense of creativity and personal branding.